Hello, Sinister Sippers. So, we have a new person joining us tonight. Sandwich Man is here. Say hi, Eli.
Hi.
We're making him do this one with us. And Shelby's here. So, this will be great. Tonight's story doesn't begin with a monster, it begins with a quiet town. The kind of place where nothing ever really happens, where people know their neighbors, and the days feel slow and predictable, and the nights are the same way. A place like Plainfield, it's the kind of town where you wouldn't expect anything truly horrifying to take root. And maybe that's what makes this story so unsettling, because sometimes the darkest things grow in the places that seem the safest. So grab your tea, Sinister Sippers, and pull your chair a little closer to the fire, because tonight we're stepping inside a farmhouse that hid secrets too disturbing to imagine, and talking about a man whose name would go on to haunt not just true crime, but horror itself. This is the story of Ed Gein. And before we go any further, I would like for you to think about this for a second. When you picture a monster, what do you see? So when you think monster, Shelby, what like comes in your head?
A fluffy animal. I don't know, a fluffy animal?
A fluffy animal is a monster.
Yeah, like
Cat.
no,
A
yes,
cat's a fluffy
yes,
animal.
yes.
Your dog is a fluffy animal.
Oakley. Whenever I think of a monster, I think of Oakley.
Okay. Eli, what do you think?
Anybody talking to me before 6 a.m.?
Anybody talking to him before 6 a.m.? So, he didn't look like a monster people would typically expect. And when you look at Ed Gein, he looks like a
Was
typical
he like
farm
a
boy.
crackhead in Drexel?
He's not the one dancing around on meth.
To understand him, you have to understand the person who shaped his entire world. His mother, Augusta Gein. She was strict, deeply religious, and incredibly controlling. She believed the outside world was full of sin and corruption, especially when it came to women. And she made sure that belief was drilled into her sons from a very young age. Ed didn't just love his mother, he depended on her. Because you have to remember, there he wasn't firing on all cylinders up top. She wasn't just a parent, she was his authority, his comfort, his understanding of right and wrong. And when you grow up being told that everything outside your home is evil, it changes the way you see the world. It isolates you, shapes you, and sometimes it traps you. Now, in true Sandwich Man fashion, he's over here making food.
Fat and hungry.
He says he's fat and hungry. Sorry, the allergies are still kicking, y'all. Pollen is a terrible thing. But let me ask you something. Do you think a person is born the way they become, or do you think they're shaped into it over time? Because with this story, that line really gets blurry. So do you think he was, like, born a monster, or do you think he just became a monster?
Probably shaped into it over time.
So, shaped.
Yes.
While Augusta controlled nearly every aspect of the household, his father, George Gein, was the complete opposite. He struggled with alcoholism, often distant, and largely absent in any meaningful way. There was no balance in the home, no second voice to challenge Augusta's extreme beliefs. Instead, Ed grew up in an environment where fear, guilt, and control shaped his understanding of the world. One parent dominated, the other disappeared, and somewhere in the middle of that, Ed never really had a chance to form a normal sense of reality. So basically, his dad would work and get drunk, and that was about it. Like, dad had no voice.
So my dad.
Basically, I did not, when I was putting this together, I did not connect that. But yeah, basically, as Ed got older, his already small world became even smaller. So when he was younger, his mom decided to move him to this 155-acre farm, and he basically wasn't allowed to leave the farm, go into town, nothing. He had to stay on the farm.
That sounds like luxury.
Exactly.
I know now that sounds like luxury.
Especially if there's a trout river on there somewhere. That's a fucking great time. That's a vacation. I get away from all of you motherfuckers.
There was no trout. Wow, Jesus Christ.
They had or cows, so you can move at them.
Exactly. I can move with the cows. It's
His
good enough.
brother Henry died under circumstances that never quite set right with people. There had been a fire, and afterwards, Henry was found dead. Officially, it was ruled an accident. I think they said, like, asphyxiation. But there were always, like, questions in the background going, did Ed do this because he said something bad about Augusta? Did Ed snap? There's just those underlying back of the head thoughts.
Yeah.
Not long after that, Augusta's health began to fail because of the stress.
Mm-hmm.
She suffered a stroke. And then, about a year or so later, she went to go get money from people who were using part of the farm
Yeah.
to garden on. And the stress of that caused her to have a second stroke, and she died from the second stroke. Now, during the first, like, in between the strokes, Ed was, like, her sole caretaker. She couldn't do anything by herself. She couldn't be on her own. It was just, he had to take care of her. She was basically paralyzed. And during this time, she was just looking at him going, you're a worthless piece of shit, son. You're no good. You're lazy. You're trifling. All while Ed was doing everything by himself. And then, just like that, the center of Ed's entire world was gone. The house grew quiet, still, empty in a way that feels heavier than just being alone. But he didn't move on. He didn't let go. Instead, he preserved parts of the house exactly as they had been. Rooms were sealed off, untouched, almost like he was trying to keep time from moving forward. So he boarded off his mother's room, and like it was kept pristine, clean, 100%. Nothing changed from the moment she died onward. So, like, in his brain, if nothing changed, she wasn't really gone.
Yeah.
It was like a time capsule. So, you know, have you ever held on to something longer than you should have?
Yeah. That.
You know, like a piece of something that you're like, oh, I should have really threw that away because I don't really need it, but I feel like I have to have it.
Yeah, it's like whenever you have a childhood dog or something and it dies and you like keep that collar just like as a keepsake, I guess, even though it's like starting to rip and like stinking because the dog died in it.
Yeah. Now, that's kind of what happened to Ed right there with his mom was he's like, if I preserve this, she's not really gone.
Yeah.
Because like I said, he's not mentally all there up top.
It's like a grief progress for like
intensified.
Yeah.
From the outside, the Gein farmhouse didn't look like anything out of the ordinary. It was old, worn down, but it didn't raise alarm. It was just an old farmhouse. Inside, though, shit was fucked. I ain't gonna lie, shit was fucked. When people would eventually walk through the doors, they wouldn't just find clutter or neglect. It wasn't just like bachelor pad, stuff that you would think. They would find stuff that's it's unsettling, honestly, looking into this
case. Is it
case.
like one of those worst cases of hoarders?
Yeah, but with human flesh.
Ooh.
So, items that looked handmade, but they weren't normal or comforting, and everything started to grow uneasy. It's like your instincts kick in, you're like, something's not right here. And for a long time, whatever was happening inside the house stayed hidden. It was like, oh, it's just Eddie being Eddie. He's making these dark humor jokes, but it's just him. But eventually the outside world did start to notice that something wasn't quite right because people started disappearing. Years before everything unraveled, there was already signs that something wasn't right. In 1954, a tavern owner named Mary Hogan disappeared without a trace. One moment she was there, the next she was gone. The only thing left behind was blood on the floor and a single bullet casing. And the last known truck at that bar was Ed Gein's.
Oh.
From what I could tell based on the recent Netflix documentary, was he got into an argument with his mom and said, I'm going out to have a beer. And she's like, you're no better than your useless piece of shit father. He's like, well, I'm going, Mom. I'm a grown man. I'm going to drink my beer like a grown man. People talked, rumors spread, but nothing was ever proven. And in a small town like Plainfield, it became one of those stories that lingered in the background, unsettling, but it was easy to push aside because they'd be like, "Oh, I wonder whatever happened to Mary," and then Ed would go, "Well, she's staying at my house," and they thought nothing of it. They thought, "Oh, the poor little mentally handicapped man is just having a hard time processing that Mary's gone,
Yeah.
and if he thinks she's there with him, she's safe in his brain."
Yeah.
For a while, what happened to Mary Hogan remained another mystery, unsettling but unsolved until a few years later when it happened again.
Oh.
For years, there were small signs that something wasn't right in Plainfield. People went missing. Not enough to cause, like, widespread panic. It was just
Yeah.
people went missing.
Okay, how much is enough for widespread panic?
I guess Bundy level.
Like,
I'm not trying
over
to be
10
mean.
people in like a week.
I'm not trying to be mean, but this woman who probably owns the only bar in town, so everybody's pissed off because the bartender's dead and now they can't get their liquor.
You got a
Unless
good point
it's
there.
self-serve. Is gone. I believe that causes concern in a small town. Where the fuck is this? Probably like Iowa or some bullshit like that with cornfields.
Wisconsin.
Same thing. Cornfields and cheese. That's all they've got. Oh, sorry. Ice fishing because they're crazy. Yeah, let's go build a
Podcasters
fire
with
on
Sandwich
the
Man
ice.
is very fun.
Let's go build a fire on the ice and park our trucks next to it. Okay. Have fun with that.
When your F-150 goes to the lake, don't call me.
If
Bench
you
Adam.
fall into the lake, the rules are look for an exit and note where the walleye are and what they're feeding on. But I'm sorry, but anybody stupid enough to do that, stupid enough to get murdered.
But this was enough
So your
people.
sister.
Well, she wouldn't build a fire on an icy lake. She's not quite that stupid. The
There-
blonde doesn't show that much.
There was enough to create a tension under the surface. Like,
Yeah.
the town was getting nervous.
Once again, how much is enough for them to be like, oh, we should probably go investigate the guy that keeps on saying that all these people that are disappearing
Once
are
a month.
staying at their house.
One person a month.
But like one a year, and he's all saying that the people that are disappearing are staying at their house is enough to be like, oh, the mentally handicapped man might be like killing and raping these people.
There was no rape in this case.
That's surprising.
He just killed.
Exactly. He might be killing people and doing weird shit with them. Like, I don't know. shit
Eating
about
their flesh, like.
No,
their
he
fruit.
doesn't eat. We'll get into what he done.
Oh, okay.
So,
No,
in
there
1957...
should be a limit here where everybody's like, I don't care it's in the 50s. They should be like, oh, this guy's saying that all the fucking people that are disappearing are staying at his house. We should probably do something about it. You know, go look into it something. Not, nah, he's just slightly retarded. It's
Okay,
fine.
speaking privilege is gone for now.
He's just
So-
retarded. It's fine.
In 1957, a woman named Bernice Warden disappeared from her hardware store. There were signs of struggle, blood left behind, and a receipt that was in Ed Gein's name. He was the last customer.
Oh, that's nice.
And just like that, everything shifted because now the unease had a direction, a name, and a place to look. And once people started looking, they couldn't look away.
So two people was one.
He only killed 2 people.
Okay.
When
2 people was one.
investigators arrived at the Gein farmhouse, they weren't prepared for what they were about to find. Inside, they discovered human remains. But not in the way you might expect. These weren't just bodies hidden away. They had been altered, repurposed, turned into objects that no one should ever have to imagine, let alone see. And this is one of those moments where your mind almost tries to protect you, where it feels easier not to fully picture it, because once you do, it stays with you. I've looked up the pictures, and whew, it's a lot. The reality of what was found inside that house didn't just shock the town, it changed it. At first, it didn't fully make sense. The human mind almost tried to soften it and explain it away, but the longer they looked, the clearer it became. This wasn't just a crime scene, this was something else entirely. So when they searched the farmhouse, there was furniture made from human skin. He had upholstered a chair with human flesh, bowls made out of human skulls, lampshades made from faces,
That seems like it would be kind of cool, though.
feet, masks, and no, all of these are women.
Excuse me?
No, like, hear me out. A bowl. Hypothetically, a candy bowl. Like, out of. in the shape of a human skull.
Okay, but that's different. These are actual human skulls.
I know, but I'm just saying
you
it
can't
looks
say
cool.
that and then go, "Oh, that's pretty cool." No, it's
So
not.
all these
It's
masks
felony.
and all this stuff was women about his mother's age when she died.
Oh, that's nice.
He made a belt out of nipples. He made a full woman's suit. And there was also very well preserved female genitalia. And there's some cases that even say he preserved his own mother's. He preserved his own mother's genitalia is what some cases say. Like there's so much that sometimes you can't tell what's true or not, but there were women's vulvas that were just
How do you make a belt out of nipples?
I guess you just like cut the circle and then you just start sewing them together. But these like so when they found Bernice Worden, she was upside down, head cut off, cut from pelvic bone to sternum, and the guts were falling out. It was like he was trying to kind of like you would a hog or something. Like he was just processing them like you would an animal.
Oh.
And then you get to the question, where did all this come from? He's only been linked to 2 murders. So he confessed to the 2 murders of Bernice Worden and Mary Hogan. Only 2. So, where did the other bodies come from? He robbed graves. He went and dug up these people. So they were recently buried, and he took parts of them back to their home. And this is where it shifts again because this isn't just violence. This is like obsession. It's about grief that turned into something unrecognizable, about a mind that was trying in its own distorted way to recreate something it had lost. Ed admitted he was trying to make what he called a woman's suit so that he could in some way become his mother. So he didn't want just to bring his mother back. No, he wanted to be Augusta Gein.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I feel like we're going to go and watch SpongeBob later to make ourselves happy again about life.
Well, see, hypothetically, I would have been okay if he would have done that with my uncle. Then he could have like brought my uncle back. I would have been okay with
Okay,
that.
you're getting into a weird spot that people are gonna start thinking that you need to go to a grippy sock vacation.
It is a vacation. But it's seriously unsettling on a psychological level. This is
Yeah.
like he's literally he's preserving vulvas.
You know what this?
And we're
makes me
pretty sure
think
this
of?
man like was a virgin. I'm pretty sure like because his mom said now listen, this is a straight up quote from the Netflix documentary because I can't picture Charlie Hunnam saying this, you know, mother always said one mustn't fornicate less than try to make a little one.
I've watched Sons of Anarchy. That ain't true.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to watch Jax Teller say that after he was a man whore for 7 seasons. Because once investigators and eventually the world understood the answer, the story did. This doesn't get simpler. This just gets worse as it goes on.
That's nice.
It's like your
You know what
family.
this reminds me of?
What does this remind you of,
The
Eli?
bullshit book, fucking Frankenstein.
By Mary Shelley.
Mhm. Which that book drags on forever and ever and ever.
It's not as bad as Les Miserables.
Fucking what?
Les Mis authors at that time got paid by the word in France. That's
Yeah,
why
I can fucking tell. You know why? Because he went on for hours. It felt like for days about bullshit that nobody cares about.
Yeah, the color on the paint on the brick on the wall that he was climbing.
Yeah, like there's so much bullshit. That's why I wish that I had a different teacher for English for and not Valerie because she was trying too hard.
As horrifying as the discoveries were, what made it
the
even
exact same thing though.
huh?
It's pretty much the exact same thing.
Yeah, basically.
He's trying to put together a cadaver.
Yeah, but
and
it's
then
not.
The only difference is that he's not.
He wasn't making a monster. He was
I
making
know,
his
I know.
mom.
Hold on, give me a damn minute, woman. He's not Modge podging together fucking parts and bullshit with sewing gaps and horrible chemistry and shit that would not make sense at all. But there's not a bunch of that stuff, but it's pretty much the exact same thing.
Yeah,
He's
it's
trying
very
to make,
similar.
oh, I'm lonely because the only person that I've ever loved that I had any connection to died, or in Frankenstein's case, he moved away. And he depressed you because he make no friends at college because he's a nerd.
So what made this even more unsettling was where many of the remains had come from. Ed admitted that much of what was found in his home wasn't from murder, but the grave robbing. He would visit cemeteries at night, carefully selecting graves of women who reminded him of his mother, exhumed the bodies, and brought them back to his home, treating them as not as human remains, but as materials. And this is where you find the true, like, the breaking point. It was his mom. At the end of the day, this is his mom. He wants his mom back. This poor boy, because if you look at his psychological state, there's no way he was mentally as old as he was physically.
Yeah.
I mean, with the way he was raised and stuff, he was very much. I feel like he might have been in his mid-20s by the time they caught him mentally.
Yeah.
Now, that's not me looking at psychological facts. That is me who wanted to be a psychological profiler looking at this. This is my criminal minds brain coming out.
Yeah. Only thing that is, like, I guess, making me question is the fact that did he steal all of these at one time?
No,
Or
he would go periodically, so
But
it
how
wouldn't
did
look
he not get
suspicious.
caught?
Well, it's the 50s at night. I mean, no one really questioned Ed Gein going to the cemetery where his mother's buried.
Oh.
Because he would steal them from the local cemetery. So at the center of everything, he wanted to become his mother. That's why he was making the woman suit. Was so he could. I must stand up so you could He wanted to put on this suit with the mask, with the dress, with basically leggings made out of women's legs, and become his mother. He wanted to answer the door as Augusta Gein.
Oh.
So was this kind of like a? I mean, it's not necessarily like in today's time would be a transgender case, but it's
still a mental illness case.
It's a very unhealthy obsession.
Yes, and I think that's because she was the only woman ever allowed in his life. He never had.
It's like one of those cases where you hear about all the like the moms especially being in love with their sons. Where they're like,
yeah, it's like
my
the
son's
reverse.
not gonna date till they're like 50. But it's like the opposite way around. Like the boy's in love with his mom.
Yeah, and actually when he supposedly killed the brother was dating a single mom and was about to marry her. And Ed was like, now mother wouldn't approve of you having another woman. And his brother was trying to get him out. He was like, come on, Ed, come live with us.
Yeah.
Come get free. And Ed didn't want to take that next step to be free. So, this is so hard when you look at it because you kind of feel bad for the poor boy. You do start to feel bad for him in this case. So when people described Ed Gein, he was quiet, he was awkward, but very much polite. He was raised to be a gentleman.
Yeah.
Which almost makes this a lot harder to. Why does Sandwich Man have the mic? Why did we give him mic privileges?
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
There's no obvious mask. There's no performance for him to point to. It's not like with Ted Bundy where you could tell he was putting on airs to get a woman to come. It's not like, hey, can you come help me get my boat on my Volkswagen Beetle? No, this was just who he was.
They did sell campers attached to VW Bugs, and they're really cool. You should look them up.
It raises the question that doesn't have a clear answer. If someone doesn't fully understand what they're doing, how do we define their responsibility in this? Do you think that changes how we see him? Do you think that since you look at him and he's this polite and courteous young man, that he would be viewed differently with the court system?
It's like Eric Mendez.
All the Menendez brothers. So he did not get put when his court case came up and they looked at his.
He's a fucking murderer. Shut the hell
So they did not actually look at him as a criminal when he got tried. He was able to plead basically insanity, and he lived out the rest of his days in a mental institution.
up. Rubber room vacation.
But his story did not stay contained. It spread. It inspired horror characters that are like so iconic. It's Norman Bates from Psycho, Leatherface. I mean, it's Silence of the Lambs. And when you realize that, it changes the way you see those stories because they feel exaggerated, but they start feeling possible. You know, it's like when you want, like, it makes you want to sit down and actually watch and pay attention to the Silence of the Lambs because that's directly based off of Ed Gein.
Yeah.
What makes this story linger isn't just what Ed Gein did, it's how quietly it all happened. No chaos, no obvious warning signs that couldn't be explained away. Just a slow, silent unraveling hidden behind the walls of an ordinary home. It makes you think about isolation and about the human mind, about what can happen when someone is left alone with their thoughts for too long. And it leaves you with the final question, was Ed Gein a monster, or was he something else entirely? Was this just his grief-ridden state taking over his brain, and with his mental state already being what it was, just a boy trying to bring back his mom? So tonight, Sinister Sippers, as the fire burns low and the room falls quiet, remember, some horrors aren't born from rage. They're built slowly, in silence, where no one else is looking.